Focus. Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Rosalie and welcome back to my channel, back to Chubby. This video is probably recorded ahead of time. Well, it is recorded ahead of time. I was setting out to make this video just a minute ago and I ended up making a completely different video. Like I started getting ready to talk about this and it just quickly turned into something else. And so I figured since I was on that ball, I would just roll with it. So in this video, I want to talk about things I've tried in the past that failed to make me lose weight. So, in the last video, this turned into acknowledging the fact that the main reason most of these didn't succeed is because of me and my lack of willpower, or perceived, rather, lack of willpower. I'm not really sure where to start, so I guess I'm just gonna start with what I can think of. I have tried Weight Watchers several times, and each time I had some success with it, and each time I can't tell you the thing that made me stop doing it. Probably just not wanting to go to meetings. I think once in high school I started having soccer practice, so I couldn't go and I didn't want to go afterwards. At one point in time, just not wanting to spend like the however much it was, like 10 bucks or 12 bucks a week or something, and thinking, well, I have all the tools, I'll just do it on my own. But I can't point to like one specific thing that made me stop. And I had some success with it each time, but I never got very far in it. And I don't think I ever did it by myself either. I think I did it with my mom twice and my grandma once. Also with my mom then, I think. And I tried, not actually in the program, just using the tools, like the points. I tried it on my own and just didn't stick with it. And another problem that I had with Weight Watchers, and that I really have with any diet, or yeah, I'm gonna stick with diets. They weren't lifestyle changes. I didn't stick with them long enough and I didn't commit well enough. With the points on Weight Watchers, you have a lot of leeway on what you spend those points on. You can fit a lot of stuff into those points. You can go to Burger King. I don't really like Burger King. I don't know why I picked that. Whatever. You can go to fast food places. There's a guide. It's like a 1-inch thick guide to the point values on fast food menus and restaurant menus. And I had that. And so I would spend my points on crap food. Again, it's not really the system that's not working, it's me. And Weight Watchers, I want to point out, I think is one of the better systems. And yeah, there's some gimmicky stuff about it, but a lot of it, like the point values, aren't arbitrary. They're, based on nutritional factors and calories, which is what I'm doing now, just without the points. So whatever works. If it works for you, good. And I mean that. I'm not like trying to be sarcastic. Whatever works for you is pretty much my motto right now. I've also tried Weigh Down Workshop, which, if you are not familiar with that, is basically, it's a religion-based weight loss system. And I went with that for a while and actually had some decent success, considering there was no counting at all. Some of it was religious studies and, thinking more deeply and more spiritually about why you are having the problems you are and what else needs work in your life. But the premise of the actual weight loss part was pretty simple. Like you did go and do weight loss stuff, and then you got cassettes to listen to and a workbook to think on, and it was more of like a whole self-help thing. But the actual weight loss portion was only eat when you're hungry, and that means like literally wait till your stomach growls, and then get whatever you would normally get, and then cut it in half, and only eat half of it, and then take the rest home, keep it for later. If you still want it later, then you still want it later, but eat half of that. That was pretty much it. Only eat when you're hungry, eat less. Like, yeah, I mean, that's what we should all be doing. But I mean, like, even I remember getting ready for it. I should probably talk a little faster because this video is going to be kind of long. Even getting ready for it, my mom and I went out and we got a lot of our like crutch foods and our junk food things that we really, really liked. And then we sort of binged on that. And then at a cutoff time, we didn't eat again until we were actually literally hungry. Like until your stomach growled or until you got whatever hunger signal you normally get. Like some people don't have, a stomach growl. They have like really bad heartburn or something like that. So I think for me, it was like 72 hours. And keep in mind, this was in middle or high school. I was much, much smaller. And I think we did it for a few months. And so it was like me, my mom, one of my second cousins, and I think one other person we knew did it. And then a bunch of other ladies. And it worked fine, but again, I didn't stick with it. And I can't tell you why or when I stopped or if there was a specific reason. I could probably think of a bunch of excuses or think of the excuses I probably would have used at that time. But overall, I don't know why I stopped. I was vegetarian for a while. I wasn't vegan. I was a lacto-ovo vegetarian, which meant that I ate eggs and dairy products, but no meat, not even fish. I wasn't a pescatarian. It was sort of for ethical reasons, not entirely. Probably different ethical reasons than a lot of people are vegetarian. It's not that I didn't believe in like hunting or eating animals, or necessarily. It's the way a lot of them were harvested and the way a lot of them were raised. And even still, like, I try and get, free-range chickens. Also, quick side note, cage-free and free-range are two different things. And if you want to watch gross documentaries or see like really, really sick birds and where the rest of your eggs come from, then feel free to look those up. But like, for example, I come from a family of hunters. Things are regulated. Like, hunting is way more well-regulated than the meat industry. Like, there's so much waste and just needless. There's no reason that we slaughter as many animals as we do in the meat industry. That was probably the longest thing I stuck with. I was a vegetarian for about a year and a half. And again, I can't tell you why I stopped. I can't tell you when I stopped. And there have been several weeks in the past couple months where we've done full vegetarian weeks, and like even Josh will be okay with it, and I'm fine with it. I like meat and I like eggs and dairy, but I'll be fine with it. It's not something I could, it's not something I can look at and say, no, I don't want to do that, or I could never do that, because I have done it and I can do it and I'm fine with it. I have just given things up randomly every now and then. I've given up soda. I think the longest period I had gone without soda was about 4 years. And again, don't even remember when I picked it back up or why or what have you. But then once I was on it again. I've given up fried things. I've, just cut random things out, and every now and then I'll have some success with that, especially fried things. But again, it's always just willpower with me. Eventually I just do it because it sounds good or I feel like it, and then I don't stop. And I've tried the Atkins diet, which I had some success with. If you're not familiar with Atkins diet, it's essentially low carb, but then there's also some gimmicky stuff that they can try and sell you on. There's certain recipes. Then there's sort of Atkins light, which I didn't really do, but it's essentially high protein, low carb stuff with their own specific rules and stuff, so they can sell you gimmicky things. There's the Dukan diet, which I did and I had a lot of success with. That one I can tell you why I stopped. Freaking expensive to eat mostly meat. The Dukan diet is essentially like the Atkins but more advanced, and the whole point is essentially like what we were trying to do a while back with keto, is sort of to reset your insulin cycles and your metabolism and reduce insulin resistance, reintroduce you to natural food. So based on your weight and your height and a few other factors, you're supposed to go with just meat, pretty much, and a few other a few types of dairy, like cottage cheese. Very little else besides meat and cheese for a few days, up to 10 days. And based on my weight at the time, I was supposed to do it for like 10 days. And then you very slowly reintroduce stuff, starting with vegetables. So then after 10 days, you introduce a day where it's like half all of the protein stuff you've been eating and half vegetables, and then a day of meat again. And then a day with protein and vegetables and a day of meat again. And you slowly build back up to where you're eating basically a paleo diet. And I was having good success with it, but we were just broke as all get out. And I mean, like, both in college, one of us had a part-time job, broke. I was having good success with it, but we just did not have the funds to do it. And I do remember the day that I said screw it and just had whatever else was because we had my brother-in-law down to stay with us for like a whole week. And I made it through like 3 or 4 days just eating my stuff, cooking for myself, doing my thing. And then they pooled their money together and got a pizza. And I was like, screw it, having pizza. And I just didn't get back on it because willpower. I've also tried the South Beach diet, which is fairly low carb. Again, had some success on it, stopped just because I was tired of trying to make stuff just for myself. And I've also tried juicing. And by juicing, I don't mean just having some juice and having more vegetables. I mean, if you've seen the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, where he basically goes on just an all juice diet for about a year, I did that. I had a crap ton of success with that. And I only made it through about a month. The 2 reasons I stopped were because it was more expensive than the Dukan diet, and it was just so labor intensive. Like, I tried doing basically what I do now and like prep for the whole week, so I'd make a whole bunch of juice for the whole week, but it would separate and it wasn't very good and it tasted kind of wrong, and you could only leave it in the fridge for like 4 days, so I could only do a little at a time. And it took forever, and it wasn't even just the juicing part, it was the cleaning out the juicer afterwards. It was just a nightmare, and it was terrible. We made a whole bunch of like compost waste and stuff, but we were living in an apartment, we didn't have anything to do with it. So we just had gross compost waste, and it was bad. And I think that's not true, I think I did it for 20 days. But in 20 days, I'd lost over 30 pounds, and I felt great. After like the first 3 days, I wasn't hungry anymore, because in order to make sure that you're not like literally starving yourself, in order to get enough calories and to get enough nutrients and enough protein, you have to drink a huge amount of juice. And it is possible, I'll just throw this out there for my vegan friends, it's entirely possible to get plenty of protein just on an all fruit and plant-based diet. A protein is made up of a chain of amino acids. Amino acids are found in fruit and vegetables. So as long as you get all of the building blocks of a protein, that makes essentially the protein. Like, what your body does is take a protein and break it down into those amino acids to use in your body. So as long as you're getting the amino acids, you're fine. I'm starting to ramble again, guys. Wrap it up. And again, the reason I stopped with that is because it was expensive, it was time intensive, and Josh and I went camping, and it was like our first time going camping together, and I was gonna go back on solid food just for like those 2 days, but I tried to be good, and I got like all vegetarian and vegan stuff. Like, I got myself like tofu dogs and stuff, and they were just so gross. And Josh had real hot dogs, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have a real hot dog. That's it. I'm tired. I'm done. And then I was back on eating whatever I wanted. There's more. There's more that I've tried. There's random crazy things I've tried. So now, for like the past 4 or 5 months, I've just been trying to eat normal, but better, if that makes sense. I've been trying to just watch my macros, watch my calories, do it in moderation, and I still keep the cheat days because whenever I start cutting stuff out, telling myself I can't have something, that's when I want it. And I don't want to fall into that trap again where I'm like, you know, screw it, I'm going to have a hot dog, or screw it, I'm going to have pizza, or screw it, I'm going to have this or that. Because with those cheat days, I'm like, you know what, okay, I can have pizza, but only on this day, and I still have to stay under my calories. But there's less just, you know, desire to say screw it and bail, basically. So I hope that makes sense. I also want to throw out that I have considered a gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve. And I got as far as going to a meeting with my mom and Josh, and we were at the hospital where they present to you all the information you need to know, start organizing you into classes, what you need to tell your insurance provider, and at the time I had health insurance, and what they would help you do. You'd have to go to support groups. You'd have to lose so much beforehand to prove that you were really serious about it. This is how much it would cost, the recovery time, etc., and so forth. And that was that would have been like 2007-ish. And I would have been around 300 pounds, maybe, like 290, 300. And I remember, like, we went there, and then I think we left to go out to eat together. But, and talk it over. And, like, I thought about it several times, and every time thought, no, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it myself. I can do it myself. I'm stubborn enough. I'm strong enough, and I'm strong-willed enough. I will do it myself. And so we went there, and we went to that thing, and we talked it through. My parents even offered to help cover whatever would be beyond insurance's coverage, because we were still pretty broke. And I decided, you know what? No. I'm stubborn enough. I'm strong enough. I'm gonna do it. I can do it myself. I don't need it. If I lose this weight, it's gonna be because I lost this weight. So that was what? 8 or 9 years ago. And went well, obviously. I did it. Did it all myself. Now, I really am trying to do it myself. And now I have lost more than I have on any other diet, because this time it's not a diet. This is recorded before this week's weigh-in, and probably before last week's weigh-in. This was recorded a while ago. I don't know how much I've lost between now and then. At the point I'm recording this, I've lost about 54 pounds, which is more than I've lost on anything else. And this time I've done it myself, without gimmicks, changing when I need to, letting myself change, not trying to stick to one thing, not trying to cut out everything, just trying to do better. So be sure to subscribe if you want to watch me ramble for 20 minutes at a time in the future. And I hope you guys are all doing well and are happy and safe wherever you're at. I hope you are healthy or just doing the best you can.